Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia of Sonia G Coaching and Let the Lady Speak podcast. And here on my channel, we have healthy discussions about life, love, dating, and relationships while promoting self love and healing. Last week, I did a live with a bunch of wonderful panelists, and we discussed men and mental health. And this is just the follow up. I wanted to do a quick recap and touch on a few things only because it was a suggestion to me. And I think it's a great idea. A great friend of mine said that they thought it would be awesome for me to kind of do a recap on the show. Just to let you know, next week on the 29th, I will be having a police officer on our channel and we are going to discuss women's safety. So I'm going to have a police officer. We're going to discuss like traveling, um, trafficking, things like that. Just ways to be careful and keep yourself safe in today's dating age, just and today's time as well. So we are going to talk about that. So next week, the 29th, next Sunday, the 29th, or upcoming Sunday, the 29th at 5 p.m., we will be doing another live and we'll have a panelist police officer here to discuss safety for us all. So I hope to see you. I will post all of the information. If you're not following me on IG, please follow me on Instagram, and it is Sonia G Coaching, and we'll be talking about that as well. So I'm going to quickly get into this topic or the live from last week and the reason why I wanted to do it. So my intention, as I stated in the live, was that I feel like as a community, once we help our men, that helps us. And it's about all of us healing together. We all need one another. And I feel like sometimes men are left out of the mental health conversation. And so this gives us an opportunity to kind of have that conversation. Excuse me. I want to share a quick video. This video is from Dear Future Wifey podcast. I love this podcast. I enjoy it very much. So I'm going to play this clip and then we'll be back and I'll go over the tips that we or takeaways from last week's episode.
Delivered. Black women are automatically blessed because we'll then take care of our families, our sons, our daughters, our mothers, our fathers. So my prayer is for all my brothers. Self-examine. Let's check ourselves and realize we're so much greater than we allow ourselves to be.
Yes.
And you got to know that the master plan of the enemy is made manifest because when he destroys families, he destroys the church. Churches are comprised of families.
Yeah.
When black men get delivered, black women are automatically blessed because we'll.
Okay, I feel like that's a powerful message. So last week we had it's J Dubs, we had Mr. Christopher Markland and Mr. Alex W. Leaf, and we talked about mental health. And here are some of the takeaways that I love. Number one, I loved everything about the podcast. I rewatched it today, and my goal and intention was to like cut up clips and then add it, but I would basically play the whole show. So I didn't do that. And it was because they dropped a lot of wisdom. They shared a lot. I love that they shared their wisdom and their experiences. I love that they were open to discussing mental health. I love that they gave tips and advice to one another and that they encouraged one another during the time, during the podcast. Hey, Kimberly, honey, how are you, beautiful? Welcome. I just wanted to go over last week's episode real quickly and what I loved about it. I also enjoyed like the brotherhood. I love that they were brothers in this space and that they were able to, again, just talk, share. And I also love that they got to share with the women. I think we got a chance to be a fly on the wall to the men and hearing their thoughts about being a man and dealing with mental health and just the stressors. So, what do you guys think? I know there's someone here. Hi to whoever else is here. Hello. Let me know in the chat what you guys thought about last week episode and what else you want to talk about and how else I can help in that. I can get some more guests and panelists on to discuss different topics and we can get an understanding from male perspective because the gentleman said they would come back. That is deep, Kimberly, because it's very true. When we need one another, and when they're healthy enough to protect us, they're healthy enough to provide for us in a way that we're looking for. We can build our families, because you can't have a Black family without Black people. We could build our families. Like, there's so much that can come from us being together, and especially for them having a stable mental health, being in a stable mental health state. Did you hear when I said I was going to have a police officer next week to talk to us about safety? Because I feel like that's an important topic also. But yes, we are automatically blessed. That is from the Dear Future Wifey podcast. If you want to check out the whole episode, it was a great episode between a husband and wife. I also love the respect that was shown and the wisdom that was shared last week. Something else though, Christopher Markland made a statement that really touched my heart. And whenever someone comes on a podcast and I send out the email and the confirmation and everything, I always say that this is a safe space. And when we got on and we started talking, he said, "This is a safe space for you too, although this is your show." And that for me was huge. That really meant a lot. I didn't say anything in a moment, really, because I was trying to keep the show going. But it meant a lot for me, or to me, that that was said, because we all, it's not easy to get up here and do this. It's not easy to do these lives and have panels. You're trying to keep everything going, make sure the conversation is going, and you're engaged in the audience and things like that. And just to know, since we're talking about this topic, that there was safety there. I loved it. So I really appreciated Christopher for saying that. Yes, I'm looking forward to him stopping by as well. I can't wait, Kimberly, because he specialized in trafficking and things like that. And so I wanted to bring him on to give us some tips for safety, especially for us, because we love to do solo travel. And we have a special guest that we're going to add on. Hi,
Hey, beautiful.
hi, babes. How are you?
I'm great. So good to see you.
It's good seeing you as well. So long, guys. I am the single one is back. Make sure you subscribe to her channel. Check it out.
Hey,
How are you?
everybody. I'm amazing. I was so excited to be in the chat last week. Shout out to the
Mhm.
gentlemen. I think they did
Yes.
a great job. I think you did an amazing job. I've told you this, but it's totally fine for me to say it again.
Yes.
That that you did great, and it was so important, and I love that you're recapping and kind of going over some of what was shared. I think that's awesome sauce.
Thank you. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. And you were a big part of this. So I appreciate you for making a suggestion. Thank you so much, my lady.
Of
Thank you. I
course.
appreciate
You're
you.
so like you're always down for like what your viewers want to see. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. You're so responsive to what people want to like learn about. That is so amazing.
Thank you. And thank you for saying it. I want to keep that going because I want us to. I know I have things I want to talk about, but you guys got to want to hear it. The viewers have to want to consume the information. And some things I'll just share because I think it'll be informative, but
Mhm.
also I want to know how else I can help. So thank you for that. So, what were some of your major takeaways from last week? You want to share that with us?
Um, One of my major takeaways was, of course, the bar that you dropped, where everybody was like, "Whoa." um, um, Especially it's J Dub. You know what but my main takeaway
Mhm.
was I came away feeling like, okay, is this annoying in the shot? I forgot how to
Yeah,
work basic equipment. Okay.
no, you're good,
um,
girl. You're good.
Thank you, Queen.
You're welcome,
So
love.
my main thing, like I came away and I was like, we really need to listen to each other more.
Hmm.
We have been engaging in so much dialogue. And I
Hmm.
don't want to call it a gender war. I'm going to call it a gender conversation. Okay.
Hmm.
And it's a conversation that's been become in some spaces increasingly more hostile. And we're forgetting the simple things: to be empathetic, to be kind, to approach with solution in mind, and
Hmm.
not just fight, 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 fight,
Right.
fight, fight each other. And
Hmm.
so I was like, that was like my main takeaway. Because and I find, when we are, able to listen and to focus on listening, and just listening being an intention for us,
Yes.
it humanizes. And, I'm sure there were people watching. I'm sorry, I'm just being so talkative. I'm sure
Go
there were
for it.
people. Okay, thank you. I'm sure there were people watching who have seen It's J Dub, who have seen Alex. We all love Alex. Who have seen Christopher Markland, but
Mhm.
never. But I think they probably came away with from that conversation with more of an understanding of them as human beings. We are
Oh,
human
yeah.
people, and sometimes I
Mhm.
think, especially for men,
Mhm.
their role is for most people who have a traditional mindset, it's like, protector, provider, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
I think because we think of them in that way as superheroes, you know they are super.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
are, they can be, a lot of them are heroes, but they're also human people who need human care from
Yes.
us. So I
Yes.
came away basically like, how can I care more for our men?
Yes. And you know what? I'm so happy you said that because that was the intention. And I'm happy it
Hmm.
came across that way because we forget, especially now with all of the social media noise. We talked about it a little bit during the podcast, but also, currently it's like men against women. All women are bad. All men are bad. No one cares. Now, of
Right.
course, it isn't productive. It isn't doing
Hmm.
anything, and we're spreading toxicity like amongst a lot of people because now a lot of people feel that way, and everyone's afraid to love now because people automatically feel like if I'm nice to a guy, he's going to use me. All these men feel like all she wants is my money, and she's going to use, and there's a lot of black love. There's a lot of men and women who genuinely want to be loved, who genuinely want to be touched. And like you said, need empathy, need grace. Just
Yes.
we're human. We
Grace.
need grace. Grace.
Grace.
Where's Maud? We need Maud to give us
We
some
need
grace.
Mud, the queen, the undisputed queen of grace.
We need Maud with the grace. And so I want that. Like I said, I see it sometimes in the hospital, and people have a lot of our men have a difficult time accessing that part of them. And I
Yes.
also wanted the men to know that there are women out here who really do want to hear your
Yes.
perspective. We do feel for you and your pain and what you go through. Like we're here for you. Everyone isn't just out to get something from you. You are loved, you are cherished, you are respected. Like I love me a black man. So, thank you for sharing that love. That was one of my intentions. Anything else you took away from last week's episode or something you want to talk about in particular?
You said something and it made me think about it, but then I thought about something else. But like,
Okay.
you just said something and it gave me this thought. Oh, yes. I wanted to point out how much, and I just wanted to be grateful for how much love they got in from the chat.
Yes.
And I really hope that they felt that support in the moment. I think a couple of them mentioned it, but
Mhm.
they were very, very, very supported in the space, and I hope that that came across for them.
I think it did, but I agree. And I love seeing that no one, I love that the chat held a space for them.
Hmm.
And we say that in therapy and in coaching, like, I'm gonna hold a space for you. And basically, that's just allowing a person to be. No one in the chat jumped in with any horror stories. Well, why should we care about you? You don't care about us. There was none of that. It was purely love. And I think they felt that, but guys, just in case you didn't, please know that the chat was extremely supportive of you in this process. And I think we're going to have more. I'm looking forward to having more conversations. I want to reach out to them again and maybe do one-on-ones, and we could talk about different things or just have a mixed panel or another gentleman's night where gentlemen's lounge where they can just all sit and chit chat. I think that is great. I appreciated that.
Yes.
Yes. So I want to talk about a couple of the powerful moments I felt.
Hmm.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. One of them is when Alex brought up that feeling of solitude I mean, not of solitude, of isolation and how people go into
Mm,
isolation. And I wanted to speak to solitude is okay.
mhm,
Spending time with yourself, reconnecting with yourself is okay, but be careful about isolation because sometimes
mm,
you go down a dark hole that you yourself can get yourself out of, and people may not be aware. Another thing he said that was real powerful is about your strong friends, and sometimes
yeah,
we as the strong friend, we won't speak up, and we kind of hope, but not really hope that someone says anything. It's like, I want you to say something, but I don't want you to say something at the same time because I don't want you to view me as weak. But at the same time, can you sense that something's happening with me? And people just make the assumption that your strong friends are always okay. And sometimes, we need to check in as well. But as the strong friend, it's healthy for you to speak up and say, right now, I need to talk, or can we go have coffee or tea or whatever the case may be? I just need a connection. What are your thoughts on that?
I have a coaching question on that.
Okay.
Because I am a single, solo, dolo, super single, solitary girl. Okay. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I actually spend a lot of time by myself. So for me, like if I had a friend that was spending a lot of time with themselves, to me, that would seem normal. So my
Hmm.
question for you, and I thought of this when Alex said it, what how can someone recognize the difference between you know t- unhealthy solitude and just like having a good healthy amount of alone time, like for themselves or for somebody that they care about?
That is a great question. There are different things. I think for you yourself, if you find yourself in solitude, but you're like in a good, peaceful, relaxed place, that's
Hmm.
healthy solitude. If you find yourself in isolation or solitude and you're having a hard time doing what you would normally do or
Mm,
liking any of the things that you would normally like, or
mm,
just feeling peaceful, it's kind of like an emptiness feeling, or kind of like something's wrong, but I don't quite know what's wrong. That's
yeah,
kind of when it's time to reach out. That's an excellent question because I'm an
yeah,
introvert also, and sometimes I'm just like, I need to lay here and stare at my TV on
right, and
one.
would love it, like I'm having a fabulous time.
This is great.
But yeah, when Alex said that, because he used the word isolation. And
Yes.
to me, like the solitude word and the isolation word, I'm like, oh man, how do we
Right.
kind of keep that in perspective correctly?
Correct. Kimberly said that's a great question. Yeah, because we all love our solo time, but there's a difference. You feel the difference. But one of the ways is in that moment. If you have a lack of energy,
Hmm.
that is your isolation. When you're pulling back, when you don't want anyone to call you. This isn't I need to recharge. I don't want to talk on the phone right now. This is I really just don't want to talk to anyone. I really just don't want to be around anyone.
Mm,
You don't feel like you need to recharge. You feel like something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it, or you just don't want to do anything. So the house is a mess. The kitchen is a mess.
that's a
Like
good.
everything is a mess.
Got it. So it's like the condition of your space around you. These are
Yes.
things we can look for, if
Yes.
it's ourselves or someone else. And I also like what you said is how you feel in the solitude,
It
right?
is.
So if you're in solitude and you're not feeling great, you're not just, you just, you're not loving it like we are with kicking back with our wine and woohoo, Netflix,
Exactly. Exactly. It's
So
like
I think that's another good tip. Thank you for sharing that. It's like the difference is how you feel in
yeah,
your solitude at that moment and being aware of that.
absolutely. Yep. Those are the huge difference. And that's why I wanted to thank you for the question. Say isolation versus solitude. Sometimes we need a little solitude, but sometimes you're isolating yourself. And that's why I share it with some of my friends. They will, hey, check in, just like, are you okay?
Hmm.
Because you haven't, because I'll go a week or two and I won't speak to anyone depending on what's happening. And they're like,
Hmm.
hey, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. If I need to talk, I will text them and say, I need to talk for a minute, or I'll just call. So we as strong people, as they like to call us, need to take the initiative as well. We can't make the assumption that people know what we're feeling and what we're going through. And sometimes we hold that responsibility to our friends and we call that
100%.
friendship. Yeah, we'll say you're not being a great friend because you, but they don't
Mhm.
know. They're used to you behaving this way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
there's a huge difference. Yeah. Great question.
Yeah, I like that too, being accountable as the strong person
Yeah.
to, when you need help, you need to learn, have the tools to
Hmm.
say, to reach out to the people that you know care about you, and that it's
Yes,
not always on them.
exactly. And don't feel like you're being weak or they're going to see you as weak because of it. We hold that guilt and shame sometimes where we feel like, well, they're going to view me as weak. Or you're living a facade, you're masking,
Mhm.
you're pretending, you're so used to pretending that everything is okay. It's okay not to be okay, but just ask for help. Even if you don't quite know, just, hey girl, can we go out for a little bit, or come over and watch a movie, or just
Mhm.
giggle on the phone, talk about an old movie or some music or something. Just do something to kind of pull yourself out of that space, because when you spend too much time alone, when you're internally in a dark space, that's when other thoughts can come into your head, and negative talk can happen.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yes. So I wanted to talk. So did you want to add anything else to that before?
Mm-mm.
So I wanted to talk about some of the barriers that. So my second question to them was, what barriers are there to getting help? You know,
Mhm.
um, and as a mental health, as well, I can't call myself technically a mental health professional, although I do a lot of mental
Yes.
health. But because I'm
Soon
not
to
a
come.
therapist, but because I'm not a therapist, or I can't technically say that, but I do a lot in I deal a lot with mental health. But I understand the barriers. And Christopher did all of the gentlemen did a great job with explaining what those barriers were for them. And I want to offer some solutions, but I do want to know, what are your thoughts? Did you agree with what they said? They basically that the cost, finding a therapist that you feel will suit you.
And I think I shared this with you. I think cost is a major one.
Yeah,
Because if you are in that role, and a lot of them, I believe they're all fathers, right?
I
So
think
if you're
so.
in the role of protector provider, even if you don't have a mate, you still have children, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So I think the costs barrier was a great one.
mhm,
Um, Also, I didn't know this, but I recently learned that, because I'm not a man,
mhm,
but
mhm,
but
mhm,
men, when they are reaching out for a mental health provider, they usually, well, someone that I saw express that they wanted a man because they feared being sexually or romantically attracted to a woman counselor, and
mhm,
be opening up to somebody like that and being in that setting with a woman counselor.
mhm, mhm.
And so I was like, wow, they really do have very real barriers to getting help that they have to consider or overcome in order to get the help.
And that is true. And you know what? To add to that, there was also the discussion of not wanting a man or a woman to say well, they viewed the woman as a mother figure, so they didn't want, like, their
Mm,
mom is telling them what to do. And then the other part of that was um the guy telling them what to do or judging them. And
mhm,
to that, I want to say, we don't, medical professionals, like, if this is what we do now, we're all human, and I can't speak for every single person, but traditionally we don't think of it like that. And then therapy in itself isn't about us telling you or them telling you what to do. It is
mhm.
more so, let's have you come up with a solution. Let's figure out the source of these concerns, or you just need to get something off of your chest. Let's talk about that, and explore where where this can go, or where this the roots of the problem, right, or the issue or your
Mhm.
concerns. So it's more so, a lot of times it can be a monologue with you just expressing yourself, because sometimes that's all we need. And if we would actually open up and talk, we can come up with our own solutions. A lot of people
Yes.
do that. You're like, oh, you know what? And
Mhm.
then there's also um sometimes there are patterns that you may not have the tools to know what it really is. So when I shared my story about the abandonment issues, I mean, some people don't have the tools to realize that your parent leaving, even if your parent just worked all the time, that
Mhm.
although your parent was working all the time, that is a form of abandonment. It doesn't mean that the parent didn't love you or care for you, and you understood, or maybe you understood to a point that this was important that your parent worked, but you still had needs. And it's okay to say, I had certain needs that didn't get met, but I understood you had to do what you had to do. And I think we want it to be all one way or the other. Like, no, I can't say that her or him working is abandonment because they were working to feed us. And I appreciate that. But you can acknowledge that there were certain needs that didn't get met with them not being accessible to you, and you had to figure things out on your own, and that has impacted how you have relationships with different people, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I think sometimes talking to counselors, like you said, it's not about them giving you answers or fixing your life necessarily. That was just the title, guys. That was just the
that's the
title.
title. Yes.
Right. It was like clickbait, kind of how we do on YouTube. But
Yes.
but it's not about them fixing you. Sometimes, and I've had this experience with counselors where it's simply the questions that they ask me
Yes.
make me think about it in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and that unlocks understanding,
Mm-hmm.
which can lead to you coming to your own answers that are right for you.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times speaking with the counselor is just like someone with lots of tools,
Yeah.
either sharing tools or allowing you to talk it out in a way that makes you see it differently,
Yes.
and that can be so helpful.
That can be, because a lot of it, I did a video yet for Self Love Sunday. Sometimes giving yourself grace and healing a wound just starts with understanding what actually is happening. Sometimes it's just the unknowing of your emotions and your feelings that is causing the issue, but it isn't that you need a whole huge undertaking. Like we have to break you down and build you up and put you together. And no, sometimes it's just like, oh, I know. So for me in that moment, once I realized that, hey, there is a daddy wound here, let me work on healing that daddy wound. Let me accept what's happening here, because it was really just the understanding, me coming to the understanding that he didn't have the tools, he didn't know any better, but I still can acknowledge what that did and how I showed up in relationships because of it. But I don't hate him. I'm not like, oh my God, I understand. And it was getting that understanding. It allows you to have empathy and compassion and grace for someone else while still acknowledging your feelings about the situation. Hey Alex, how are you?
One
We're
of
doing
the amazing panelists
one of
here.
the panelists. If you just, I'll put the link back down just in case you want to come. We are just kind of recapping last week. My southern twang just my grandma
I love it.
my grandma just pops out every blue moon.
So cute.
Thank you. Yeah, but I love that. As far as the cost, there are all the
Oh, the
panelists.
panelists are great. That's so amazing.
Hey guys. Hey, it's J Dub. We appreciate you. We're recapping last week. I put the link in. If you guys want to come back and add anything or say anything, please feel free to. But I thought it was great to just kind of talk. Let the ladies are speaking, but you guys are definitely welcome. Thank you, kind sir. He said we're doing awesome. But there was also the cost, the issue of costs. Now I know now you can get a therapist like for $50 or $60 an hour and things like that. But $50 and $60, depending on how your pockets are, could be
Mhm.
different. I think can be a lot. But there are things about like you can do what we call self-parenting.
Mm.
And because really what's happening a lot of times is that our inner child is having issues. And hi, Mr. Jones. Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, our inner child are having the issues. We talked a little bit about triggers last time and
Mm.
how Triggers are basically the pathway to your healing. Once you understand where these triggers are coming from, then you understand you can heal the problem, you can deal with the issue, and you can just manage it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, you'll that wound would never heal, but you will be in a better place, and you can manage your emotions, or you understand the situation. Hi, Miss Linda. I agree, J
Yeah,
Dub. J Dub said we
that's what we
spent.
were just saying. Yep.
Yes. So I think prioritizing mental health, if you can, is vital. I know everyone can't do it, but if you can, like if this is not about food or shelter, anything extra, if you could put towards your mental health, you can do it. Also, always have a book.
Yes, book.
Yes, book. I love this book. Now, I know everybody's not a fan of TD Jakes, and I get it and I understand. But I'm going to tell you, this book is called He Motions. I read this book when on
Mm.
my first started my healing journey because I wanted to understand men more. I grew like, I've shared about my relationship with men, but the men that I dated were a little different than the men I grew up with. And because in our country, in our community, a man talking about his emotions and expressing his emotions can be a challenge. This book was written by a man for women, but it actually can help men access their emotions because sometimes that's the barrier. Are men not having the
Having
tools to know
language.
how? Mhm. Having the language and the tools to access their emotions. And we want them to show up for us, but they have never been given permission to do it, to have that conversation.
Go, Kimberly, go.
Come on, Kimberly, clean house, girl. Maybe we can motivate you. Yeah, but this book is a good read. It really does talk you through what different emotions are like. Because when we have this whole masculine, feminine energy conversation and all of this like anger and frustration, a lot of what's happening is fear. A lot of what we're
Hmm.
hearing is fear. We're, the aggression, like masculine energy isn't aggressive, it's assertive. It isn't aggressive.
Hostile and mean.
It isn't hostile and mean. It is a very loving, kind, gentle, safe place to be. It's a good feeling to be around a masculine man in his energy. So when we talk about the aggression, that's not masculinity. That is fear. That is
Mm.
anxiety. That is
And
what
that
we
was TD Jake's He Motions.
TD
He
Jakes
Mo-
he motions. Yes. TD Jakes he
recommended
motions.
right here on Sonia G
Yes.
Coaching. Give it 5 stars. I'm gonna check it out
Five
too.
stars. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Linda. Yeah, there are a lot of great I won't go through it right now because child we'll be here, but it really does go through. It gives a lot of tips for understanding emotions, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're going through, and for us ladies to understand what that presents as. So instead of us meeting our man with aggression, we may give him room. Like you don't have to parent your man, but you may give him some room.
Oh,
Give him some room. What were you gonna say?
I love that what you said. Not meeting aggression with aggression. I have to repeat these things because they are gems. You might miss them if you're just watching live. You're watching on the replay. I'm here. This is my sidekick job today. Okay, you
I
said
love you.
not meeting. I love you too.
I don't need
Not
aggression.
meeting aggression with aggression.
Exactly. And we do
And
that sometimes.
yes, because
What were you gonna
we
say?
can get right back with you. We know we can do that, but it's not necessarily the best thing to do.
It isn't. And a lot of times our inner children are fighting each other. Our
Yes.
abandonment person is fighting our abandonment person. And we're both
Mhm.
scared. And so what we're going to do is we're going to protect ourselves. And then next thing you know, we're both going at each other. But that does not help anything. And then things are said that you can't take back. Things are done that you can't take back. And even if I forgive you, I know you felt that way. Whether you meant to hurt me or not, you said it and you felt that way. And that hurt my heart, and I'm going to forever think about what you said to me. in that
Yes.
moment, right? And it becomes a
It'll
challenge.
never
That's
leave.
right, Jake. Yes. Parenting
Partnering,
and
not
partnering,
parenting.
not parenting. Yes. Yes. That is my slogan because don't do it, my husband. Oh, Miss
Well, that's
Linda, is
good
he
you talked
getting
to
is
him.
yeah. I'm happy he went to his physician though. Veterans deal with a lot. I'm happy he went and sought some help. I hope that he is in a good place. How are you doing, Miss Linda? Thank you, it's J Dubs. Thank you.
Facts.
Yeah, the wounds are still there. You can never take back what you say. Even if I forgive you, you can't take it
That's
back.
right.
I'll
That's right.
forever. And another thing why I'm thinking about this because it's gonna leave my mind.
Hmm.
When you say so if your mate shares something with you and then you use that against them in the argument, that is a huge no-no. And again, that's
Huge
something
do
else
not do.
do not do. Because again, when we talk about safe spaces, you can't have a safe space in that moment. You know that your space is not safe, and then you won't share with your partner anymore. Like I can't give you my heart because you're going to use my weaknesses against me. So if I give you my kryptonite, you have to take care. Don't use my kryptonite to hurt
Absolutely. And
me.
even after the relationship should end, we
Mhm,
shouldn't be weaponizing very intimate, things that people have confided in us to hurt
mhm.
or harm them after the fact. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. You make sure you love and care on yourself, and then we'll be keeping your husband in his prayers. I know that's very difficult. And they have, Miss Linda, their support groups for you too to help support him, just so you know. So
Absolutely.
you guys both you have to keep your cup full. So you seek assistance for yourself as well. You're right about that. Sorry, it's not so. Alex says sorry is not enough if the behavior doesn't change. A full apology includes changed behavior.
A full apology includes change behavior, Science G coaching. Like, share, and subscribe.
You're so cute.
Ah, yes.
But it's true. It's so true. Yes, we send Miss Linda some love. I
So
just
much
love
love.
y'all. Alex and Jay, y'all are like y'all my new favorite people. I'm a I have all the peoples. Thank y'all for being so sweet towards her,
The
Miss
coolest
Linda. But yeah,
ever.
ever, ever. So I think that's important. You want to be able to have healthy conflict resolution, communicate in a healthy manner, respect is very important, vital. Um, Go ahead.
I think we can jump in because, like, the recap is like, what can we, as their counterparts, their people who are community with them, the
Hmm.
girls, what can we do, to
Hmm.
further support? And I think, some altered behavior on our part might help. Now, and we could be preaching to the choir. Like, this is the Science G coaching panel, so we're probably all really nice people, but I think in
Hmm.
terms of, as we are interacting with other women or observing interaction, just encourage each other to be a little more kind.
That is very great advice. I am the single one, ladies and gentlemen, because that is very true. Because um, just as we expect for our men to have healthy mentorship and support, we should be that same way towards our women. So when your friend calls you bragging that she called her man whatever she called him, that's a great
Hmm.
opportunity for you to talk about how disrespect doesn't get you anywhere. And you don't want to disrespect your mate and how you're supposed to be a safe space for your mate. So being disrespectful is not beneficial for either one of you. And she isn't doing her job as a partner, right? Yes, that
Hmm.
is great. That is great. I'm happy you have some
Oh, that's
resources
awesome.
available. Yes, yes. Nate says, stay positive, Miss Lynn. Thank you, Nate. Thank you for sending the love. Oh, thank you for saying that. Thank you so much. If there's anything you want us to talk about, please add it to the chat or comment, and I can either talk about it here or I'll do a video for you if you are interested in anything in particular. But thank you for saying that. So, where else do you feel like us ladies can assist our men in dealing with mental health?
Um, so we said listening more. We said,
Yes.
curbing our own behavior if it's not as, loving and empathetic as we're capable of. And also
Mm-hmm.
holding one another accountable, I use the accountable word, but
That's a good word.
encouraging one another, to be more kind to their counterparts or whoever they are interacting with, I think is good. Um, Also, I we didn't talk a lot about fatherhood, but
Mhm.
understanding how we can be in support of fathers as they are fathering. I think that could be an area as well.
That's a big one. You know why? I'm so happy you said that because
Hmm.
sometimes we kind of take that job. We are mama bears, and we kind of take away from the father doing his fatherly duty. Or there's some other things like you're jealous because you got a new girlfriend and all these things. But that hurts your child. But I'm gonna stick on topic. When we talk about not allowing him to be the man and the father in the child's life, and you take over, you can make him feel like he isn't valuable or his input isn't important. And that's not healthy, and that isn't beneficial for the child, you or your mate. Yo, that's a great one.
Yeah.
You know what? That is so very true. But we're gonna work on that, Alex. We're gonna work on not hurting each other because that's what makes it so difficult for people to want to love again. They don't want to love again because they don't want to be that vulnerable that someone else will hurt their hearts. But love is such a great thing. Like, I'm all about the love. But we have to have healthy people. I think too, it's important for us as women to require that our men seek help before we enter into relationships. Or if we're in relationships, say, make it a requirement that you have to be at your healthy self. Or maybe I shouldn't use the word requirement and say highly encourage and model. Like, if you model that behavior. I
Mm.
was watching something and the husband said he went to therapy because the wife went to therapy. And he was like, it won't be my fault all the time.
Smart man.
I'm gonna go to therapy too. So what are your thoughts on modeling behavior?
I like modeling. I was going to ask you a funny question about having counseling or help or professional coaching as
Mhm.
a requirement. I was like, should everybody put that like in their dating profile? Like, must have counselor, therapist, or coach, or don't call me, don't swipe, no
Don't
swipe,
even call. No, because
don't
as
even
you
call
see now,
me,
don't even call.
no dinner,
No, because
no
you
date,
see, exactly. No, nothing. Just, is it love? You
swipe.
gotta swipe left.
Mm.
Um, I don't think so. I think the best thing to do, my suggestion, I should say, is to you do it yourself, going back to the
Mhm.
modeling, and you'll be able to recognize that whether or not he has is once you heal, you can see who isn't healed like immediately. And again, we'll never all
Mhm.
be perfect, but you'll notice that they're not self-reflective. Everything is everyone else's fault. You'll notice that they are not self-corrective. They'll never change behavior to tell you they're going to be exactly who they are. They're not self-aware. They don't know how they show up in relationships, and they feel like everyone else is the problem. So I think if you yourself understand it and know it, then you'll be able to see it. And then you have to say, mental health is really important to me. And I want my partner to have resources outside of me. Because you can't count on your partner for your mental health.
That is something that we do as women. Hey, Nicole. That is something we do as women because we do have a healing capability because we are mothers of the world. Okay. So
Yes.
so we
Yes.
do have that natural,
Mhm.
attribute.
Mhm.
But yes, I love what you said. So she said, this is how you put it, guys. Okay. So when you're on the date, this is what you say.
Mhm.
Mental health is very important to me, and I want a partner where, it's important to them as well, and that they
Mhm.
have help or assistance outside of the partnership or me.
Yes. Yes.
That's how
Yes.
you say it, ladies.
That's how you say it. Thank you, ma'am. And that's very important because we want our partners to do everything. And that's how the other partner's cup gets empty. I was watching a podcast and the guy was saying he didn't realize that his wife was so unhappy and she filed for divorce and it was too late. But he was off
Mm,
doing his own thing and he counted on her for everything and he never poured into her. And she went to a therapist and the therapist made her see that she was people pleasing and talked to him, but he was still on the road, and that pretty much ended their relationship. And a lot of the men in the comments were like, "Oh, she's selfish." I'm like, "No, that's not selfish." Go
yeah.
ahead. No,
Culture,
go
culture,
ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
culture. No, I think, and I should also say, we have also performed this
Mhm,
to the extent where we are handicapping grown, capable beings, our men, from
mhm.
doing their own work themselves. Or, yeah. So some of it, we have taken on this kind of total sacrificial role, and
Mhm,
that's not sustainable over time.
mm-mm.
That's not
Mhm.
sustainable over time. So we
That's where
also have
that
to be
that
mindful of that. Yeah.
yes, and that's where that statement, "Parenting over partnering," comes in, where you're trying to parent them and make it all right and pick up all the pieces, and even the men on the panel last week said, Your support a lot of times is enough." Something you really simple we can do, ladies, is just ask, "What do you need from me?
Hmm.
How can I help you?" But a lot of times we just try to dive in and fix it and do it, and we think ahead and we're trying to make it all right, and that really isn't our role. And it actually for some men, Alex and Jada, if you're still here, and Nate, can you speak to this? A lot of times what we're doing is making them feel incapable. We're not helping the situation. And then that's why they feel like I'm gonna talk to my mama if I go to a woman therapist versus someone who gives them space to figure it out on their own because they're an adult male. They can do it, but
Hmm.
figuring out what support looks like to them. So, okay, yeah, you have to break those patterns, but you have to know your patterns. So it's important to like do an inventory of yourself and your patterns and behaviors, and how you show up in relationships and your relationship patterns. Like what type of people do you always date, and how does it end? How does it go? Very great statement, Alex. Yes. So I think that is good. Okay, let's go here. My little
Hey, everybody, look at the
um
video right now if you haven't already.
I love your mic, by the way. It sounds so
Oh,
good.
thanks. Does
I'm
it? Okay,
loving
I'll stop yelling.
it. You weren't yelling, but it does. It sounds really, really good.
Thanks.
Um, so you guys in the chat, please let us know your thoughts too. How else you feel like we can help our partners? We talked about the social media influence. We talked about the influence of a woman briefly, but I want to get back to that a little bit. How we how we carry ourselves makes all the difference in the world. And what I'm talking about is getting back to the aggression, meeting aggression with aggression. When we do the I don't need you, you ain't nothing, and we come off with that energy, like we walk through the door like, I don't need you. How that sometimes can be detrimental because even if that person isn't the one for you, to tell a person you don't need them or you don't want them doesn't help. If you don't want the relationship, say that, right? But to automatically let a person know that their worth means nothing to you, they have no value, it's pretty deep. Like that stings pretty. Like if I go to tell somebody, I don't need you, I don't want you, and I get the sentiment. The sentiment is my life. So here are some better words. I don't need you in my life if you're going to disrupt my life. I don't need you in my life if you're not at a healthy enough point to have healthy conversations. I don't need you in my life to hurt me more. I have been hurt enough. Like acknowledging our, because really, when we say that, we're talking about our own pain and our own fears, and we're tired and we just don't want to deal with you hurting us anymore. But to say, I don't need you and I don't want you, it's kind of off putting. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you, and I figure when I was in a relationship once upon a time. In my prior relationship, I learned to alter my language for my partner. So when I would bring something um, to him, he he heard things in a very like he heard accusation. He heard he it. I had to change the way I said it, just like you changed I don't need you. I don't want you to what you said, you know? I don't need a
Mhm,
situation in my life that's going to disrupt it, that's going to cause additional stress. I'm not into that.
mhm.
but, but I would say, um, like you said, I don't want someone who, is going to hurt me. I've been hurt enough. I would
Right.
say to him, I don't want either of us to hurt each other. I don't want to cause hurt for you, and I don't want to be hurt. And so that kind of, especially because our men right now, what they're expressing, I believe, in these spaces is that they feel it's kind of imbalanced toward the woman's
Mhm,
favor.
mhm.
And I think that because of that, they're when we're speaking to them, the more equitable we can make the language
Yeah.
sound and position it as I want the best for you and for myself, right?
Yes.
So, if you are not in a healthy place mentally, then that's not good for me or you. So
Right.
so it doesn't make sense for us to continue this because I want what's best for both of us. And so I learned that skill tool,
Mhm.
and I think it's really helpful. And yeah, the more we can be um, very, 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 very mindful and intentional with our language, I think we'll get better outcomes.
That's outstanding, and attention is important. And I think too, it's important to set a goal for our relationship. So a lot of us just get in these relationships, just going with the flow. That whole let's
Talk
see what
about it. Oh,
happens.
she's reading. Go ahead, girl.
Let's just go with the flow. Let's see what happens. And you don't have a plan or a mission. You guys have not agreed on the mission of this relationship and your intention in being together, right? Because sometimes when because we're human, and sometimes your partner, you may not like them for the moment, we go through those moments. Sometimes you need that to hold on to, like, but we came this is our mission, right? And I still want you, just like right now today, you're on my nerve, but I still want you, I still love you, and I still love what we're building together. We are building this house together. And a lot of times people don't lay the foundation of the intention of the relationship. Why are we together? Why are you choosing me and why am I choosing you? Because
Mm.
we don't pick, we choose one another. You should choose your partner because you guys, again, our partnership, you're pieces of a puzzle locked in. Why are we here? What are we doing together? what's the mission of this relationship? We're trying to build a family. We're trying to have children. What do we want for our children? Like, people don't come into agreement to that conversation in their relationship. They just kind of hop in a relationship and decide, let's go with it and see what happens. But the problem with that is that there's no real goal. And then you just make a mess. It's like marbles on the floor. So
Mm-hmm. Out
a,
here a mess.
a mess. Just a
Joking.
mess all over the place.
Yeah.
You know what, Alice? And that is so true. He's talking about the power of a hug. Um, the power of touch can really de-escalate a situation quickly. We use this in the hospital, but also in romantic relationships. So sometimes, like if a couple is having a disagreement in like a session, I don't really work with couples, but I've been around when couples do this work, and you would have them hold hands,
Mm-hmm.
because I need you to remember that this is me. And then there needs to be a reminder, I'm not your enemy. Like, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm just we're just trying to come up with a resolution. But that touch, that hug, that touching of the hands, the um touching of the face, whatever it is that works for your partner, sometimes just getting close and letting your energy exchange with their energy
Mm-hmm.
can really calm your partner down, both partners. But women can really women really have that power when it comes to men. Sometimes it's just about walking into his space and holding him and let him know, like, I'm here for you. I'm not the world. I'm not here to fight you, so he won't put that on you. So that was a thank you, Alex. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, touch is
And shout
important.
out to your second wife and her skills and her tools. And feel free to shout
Absolutely.
her out as well. Or send her a little
Yeah, shout out.
something nice that you may say.
We know I am the single one loves gifts. I need send us something to say.
Appreciate
um
the ladies.
Yes, yes. I think we've touched on a lot of that. I do want to send a friendly reminder that sometimes, ladies, our men don't know how to access their emotions. Just as I can't remember if it was Chris or Alex, it may have been all three of them at one point, said how we're taught, it was Alex, they're taught to be quiet, not cry, not feel, and then they grow up as adult men holding on to that belief that they can't cry, they can't show emotions, and they can't feel, and so they never get a chance to access that. So for us, I ask that you guys be patient and learn to access your own, because some of us women don't know how to access ours either. Some of
Very
us are
true.
disconnected from ourselves. Some of us are just solely in survival mode, and we're just worried about surviving, and we're not really focusing on evolving. And we don't need to be in survival mode anymore. And it's okay to be in survival mode when you need to be, but once you get out of it, once you achieve your foundational level, which is like a house, home, security, safety, things like that, and you start building relationships, it's okay. It's okay. Show a little love.
I said what I said, okay?
She
Call
said
me.
what she said. Called
Hey,
me.
the lady. No, just joking.
Hello, Shirley. Baby, thank you.
Yes, do it.
Oh my gosh. You're not gonna have me acting a fool here. Does anyone else
Sorry.
have anything else? No, you're good. I'm fine. Does anyone have anything else they want to add? Do you guys want to? I'll put the link in one more time just in case someone else wants to come up and say their piece.
Yeah, watching that also made me aware that I think men need more of these spaces and these kinds of opportunities.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to work on it. I think if we all do our part in our own way, we can make a change. I think that's important because everyone is speaking about the other things. Pain is speaking really loudly out here. A lot of people are expressing their views, and it's coming from a place of pain and sadness and childhood wounds and inner child and so on and so forth, all the names and all the things. But I think we need to counteract that with a few of us speaking out in a healthy way to show that we can have some resolution. We can be in the same space and speak to one
Yes.
another in a respectful manner. That's why I love the live so much. Everybody was so kind and so respectful and so
The
giving of
vibe.
themselves. It was a vibe. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take people sharing their thoughts and feelings and emotions with me lightly, nor do I take people dropping jewels, as y'all like to say, for me dropping jewels. The fact that you guys listen, I don't take that lightly either. I really try to say what I need to say and care because I want people to understand that this is a safe space, and I really am only trying to hurt, and I don't want anyone um, harmed or to feel disrespected or not important, because you are important. You are vital. So, yes,
Absolutely. So you're going to have the gentleman back on the channel?
I am. I am. I have to
Okay.
do, I'm going to do a reach out. Hi, Torian. Influencer, keep your friends. That is very true. And that is very important. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for stopping by. Look at the cute baby. I
I
love
love
it.
babies.
Thank you. Yeah, your who you partner with and your friends, the influence of your friends are very important. I actually pay attention to that. Like,
Mm,
if I notice that you have a lot of negative people around you, that causes me to distance myself, um, like in dating,
mm-hmm.
because this person has a lot of they have to deal with a lot. I talked a lot about in one of my videos about a man without a country, and that's a man that's seeking guidance from other men. They are seeking the male gaze, and sometimes they're surrounded by unhealthy people that's giving unhealthy advice, and because they're trying to receive love and acceptance from men, they'll take the negative advice. Women do this as well, and it can cause heartache and trouble in a relationship, just like in Love Jones. You remember Love Jones?
Oh, with her crazy friend with the curly hair?
Yes, and her friend was like, "I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you what to do." I was like, "That is," even back then I knew that was bad advice. I'm
Opposite.
like, "That is bad advice." Like, she gonna get her in trouble. And sure enough, she didn't promote communication. She just promoted, a game. So people who seek wise counsel. That's what I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Wise counsel is important. All right. Well, yes, to your question, I'm going to ask the gentleman to come back on. And we're going to continue this conversation. I've already spoken to Alex and asked Alex about sharing some more of his stories, and he's agreed to. And I'm going to reach out to the other gentleman as well. And then we're going to move on to the ladies because we need to share our hearts as well, and what we deal with on a mental health level and our struggle so they can have an understanding of us. So we're going to keep it going.
Nice. That's so exciting.
Yes, yes. Anything new with you? Anything you want to share before we sign off?
I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And congratulations on the great work. This is really, really, really amazing work you're doing.
I appreciate you, friend. Thank you so much, my love. And thank you for stopping by. Thank you for co hosting tonight. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Sidekick on deck whenever you need me.
Okay, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use my card. I'm going to be like, I am the single one.
All right, bye, chat. I'm gonna drop down and listen as you close out the show.
Okay. Okay, my beauty. Oh, wait. B.E. Nicole is coming. Hold on. Hi,
Hello,
my love.
Jessica.
How are you?
Hi. I just wanted to
Hi.
come up real quick and give you your flowers because we talk behind the scenes and this is really important. This is a very important topic that I think people need to talk about. And I just finished a live with Alex, and we were basically talking about the same thing, where we have to be those voices to let the men, more importantly, because they're our leaders, and then to the women, let them know there is safe spaces for them to talk about these type of things. So I just applaud you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep shining bright. And that's all I wanted to come and say.
Oh, love, thank you so much. And same to you. And please, you guys, go subscribe to the E. Nicole's channel. She has all the shows, all the things that are happening over there. And her and Alex are hilarious together. So please support her channel. If you're watching this on replay, go support the E. Nicole. But thank you for giving me my flowers. I appreciate that. And the same to you. The same to you, because you're doing great things as well. So thank you.
Much love to you. Talk to you soon.
All right, love. Much love to you also. Talk to you soon. Okay, beautiful people. So we're going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who stopped by to say hello and who came up, and just for supporting my channel. If you're watching it on replay, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thumbs up the video. And if you guys ever want to talk about a particular topic, please, you can put it in the comment section, or you can DM me or email me. All of my contact information is below. And then again, I want to talk about a few books. Y'all know I love my books. So I talked about the T.D. Jakes, He Motions. It's called He Motions. That's a very important book. Another really good book that helped me was Toxic Parenting, Overcoming Their Hurtful Legacy and Reclaiming Your Life. This is a good book because you may not know what these toxic patterns look like, and how they can show up in your relationship. And if we can't go to therapy, you can spend $10 or so on a book. And this is a great book. And then the other one, the last one, this was my Bible for a long time, as far as like dealing with individuals that drained you. It's called Emotional Vampires, dealing with people who drain you dry. And you need to understand who emotional vampires are. And a lot of times they're the people that are very close to us. Those are very good reads, and they can help you on your self-love and self-healing journey, and just understanding yourself and your partner more. Okay. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much. And as I always say, please don't forget to love yourself for who you are. Take care. Hugs and kisses, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. I'll see you next week, next Sunday. All right. Bye.